Hey guys, welcome back to My Way of Life. I'm Lynn. I have to show you these cinnamon rolls because I am so excited about this recipe. These are cinnamon rolls made with self-rising flour, which means no yeast, no waiting for the dough to rise, and no stressing out on Saturday morning. Let's get started with what you need. For the dough, you need 4 tablespoons of melted butter, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 cup of whole milk, 4 cups of self-rising flour, 2 eggs, and a half cup of sugar. That's it for the dough. Super simple, pantry ingredients, nothing fancy. Alright, let's get into it. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Go ahead and grease a 9x13 baking dish with either cooking spray or some melted butter. You really want to get it really nicely greased. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add the milk. I like to use whole milk or 2%, both would work. Melted butter, the eggs, one at a time, and then the vanilla extract. You'll want about 2 teaspoons, but you know what I always say, measure with your heart, and then mix those together with a fork. Then add your sugar and your self-rising flour and mix until a dough forms. It'll come together pretty quickly, which is one of my favorite things about this recipe, but it should note you do need to use self-rising flour in this recipe. You cannot use all-purpose flour or bread flour. You need to use self-rising flour in this recipe. That's because we're not using any baking powder, any baking soda, or any yeast. So if you don't use self-rising flour, you would need to use some sort of other leavening agent. Turn the dough onto a floured surface and roll it out into a roughly 12 by 18 inch rectangle. It does not have to be perfect, so just do your best. Don't stress out about getting it exactly right. Make sure you flour your rolling pin too so that the dough does not stick to it. Now, I just want to give you a heads up here because this is important. This dough is sticky, like really sticky. And that is totally normal, so don't panic or try to add more flour. Just be really generous with the flour on your work surface before you turn your dough out onto it. You can use either self-rising flour or just regular all-purpose flour here for dusting. That works perfectly fine. This would actually be a great place for all-purpose flour because you're not using it to leaven anything. This is just to make sure that nothing sticks. Then, in a small bowl, mix together your granulated sugar, brown sugar, and ground cinnamon. Give that a good mix with either your hands or a spoon or a fork, whatever gets the job done. And then grab your melted butter and brush it all over the top of the dough, right to the edges. And then you're gonna sprinkle the cinnamon and sugar mixture evenly all over the top of it. I like to be pretty generous here because the filling is the best part. That's what we all love cinnamon rolls for. Leave just a little bit of an edge around the dough so that the filling doesn't touch it and makes it a little bit easier for it all to stick together when you're trying to roll it together. Now roll it up tightly into a log and cut it into 12 equal pieces. I find that a sharp knife or a serrated knife or even unflavored dental floss works really well for getting clean cuts without squishing the rolls. Place them cut side up into the prepared baking dish, pop them in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes until they are lightly golden brown on top. Now I want to take a quick second to talk about the texture because I think it's really important to set your expectations before you take these out of the oven. These are not going to be the same as your classic yeasted cinnamon rolls. Because we're skipping the yeast, there's no rise time. These rolls are going to be a little more dense and a little more biscuit-like than what you might be used to. Now that doesn't mean they aren't as good. They have that same delicious cinnamon flavor. And I want to be upfront about that because it's not a mistake and it is just the nature of self-rising flour rolls. They're hearty, they're loaded with buttery cinnamon sugar filling, and they're absolutely delicious. Think of them as a no-fuss, no-wait version that still gives you all the cinnamon roll satisfaction. My family genuinely loves them and they disappear every single time. While the rolls are baking, you can make a cream cheese icing or a simple vanilla powdered sugar glaze with just a little powdered sugar, vanilla, and milk. When your cinnamon rolls come out of the oven, let them sit for just a minute or two and then pour that icing right on top. And that's it. The recipe is linked below, and if you try this recipe, I'd love to see it. So tag me on Instagram at Lynn's Way of Life. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. And if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a recipe. I'll see you in the next one.